guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Noor and thank you so much for joining me in another video. Today I have a book tag video for you guys, and the book tag is called Books of Change book tag, and this book tag is created by Clara and I for our Books of Change video series. We felt like we should end the whole series with a book tag for everyone to do and to share all the books that had changed or impacted their lives. So for the past 11 weeks, we have been talking about all kinds of topics. We have talked about books that changed our lives depending on topics like friendship, death, accepting people. It's a lot of topics and it was a lot of fun. I feel like I have learned so much from this video series. One is that I am so happy to be able to share all these books with you guys, and second of all, to interact with you guys and to know what are the books that had changed you guys in terms of that certain topic. I want to personally thank Clara for approaching me at Twitter and asking me if I want to do this collaboration with her for this Books of Change series. I am so glad that she approached me at Twitter, and I am so happy that I am able to work with her in this video series because I feel that I have learned a lot from her. I learned a lot about her culture, where she comes from. This tag consists of two parts. One is reading and one is writing. And as you know, Books of Change, it's about sharing books that had changed or impacted your lives. We feel like these two topics are the essential thing that revolves around BookTube and revolves around books themselves. So we feel like these are the two topics that are appropriate to be in the book tag, so we can talk more about it. So yeah, I am not tagging anyone to do it. I'm not tagging specific people to do it, but I hope that every one of you guys can do it. If you guys find these questions very interesting and if you guys want to join us to answer these questions, then feel free to do this tag video. So let's just get on to the book tag. So we are going through the first part and then we're going through the second part. For the first part, it would be about reading. So question 1, how has reading changed your life? As you guys know, I have started reading ever since I was 16 years old. When I was younger, I do not read a lot of things, mainly because I am a slow reader, which hence made me such a lazy person to go out there and pick a book. I discovered reading when I was 16, so right now I am 24 years old. So from 16 to 24, I feel like in between those years, my reading has shifted quite a bit. I started out reading lots of contemporaries, lots of romance books. As I grow older, I feel like I am open to a lot of different genres and I am more experimental in my reading. I read a lot of fiction that deals with heavy things, heavy topics, and I read a lot of different kind of book formats. And I read a lot of non-fiction, just trying to educate myself. So I feel like my reading has definitely developed and has definitely shifted from a very safe phase to a more experimental phase. I feel like I am more bold and more keen to opening up to more different kind of genres. Question 2, what would you improve on your reading process? I feel like the pace that I'm reading is fine. I don't want to read a lot of books in a short period of time without being able to understand what I'm reading. So I feel like I am okay with how my pace of reading is, but of course it's great to read a lot more in a month or to be able to accomplish a lot more in a month. Question 3, give someone who wants to improve his reading process and advice. If you're anything like me and you are not a serious reader, or if you just started reading like a couple years ago, or probably you just started reading now, I would say the first thing you have to do or you have to have in mind is no pressure when it comes to reading. Okay? When I was younger, I've always felt this pressure in terms of reading. I've always felt like if you don't read a lot or if you're not a fast reader, you're automatically not on par with your peers. Like everything else, people have different rates at learning, different rates at understanding things. So it's okay if you're not a big reader or a fast reader right now, if you don't read like 10 books a month. No pressure. Don't put pressure on yourself. It's unnecessary. Just enjoy whatever you are reading. I would highly recommend you start on something that you are interested interested in or that you feel comfortable with. The last thing you want is to read something that you are not keen in and puts you off from reading. If you feel like you want to expand more, if you want to go out of your comfort zone, pick a book that might interest you. And I would say your best bet is the library, because libraries are ultimately free. So if you want to pick a book, rather than committing yourself to buying a $20 book, you go to the library, you pick out a genre that you are not familiar with, and if you don't like it halfway, it's okay, no pressure, return it. No one's gonna judge you for that. Okay, question 4. Share 3 books you would recommend someone in order to make an impact in their life. If you want to see more of the books that had changed or impacted my life, then again, I will list the playlist down below for Books of Change so you can watch those books for specific themes. But nevertheless, I will just share with you guys 3 books that had changed my life in terms of reading. So the first one would be Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. The reason why I picked this up is because this is a book that had made me fall in love with classics. Back then, I never liked classics. I find that classics is a little bit boring, mainly because of the language. I mean, the English is very, very dense. I have this mentality that, oh, classics equals to Old English or literature English. But one day when I was around 20 years old, I was at a bookstore after school browsing the classic sections, and I saw this in this edition. I picked up this book mainly because of the cover. The Penguin English Library edition. This is the rubbery feel, so I was very interested in the whole cover. When I read the back, it sounds something that might interest me. I thought it was a love story, so I decided to pick it up. Surprisingly, I don't find the language or the English very intimidating, so this is a book that had ultimately made me fall in love with classics. The whole story plot line of it is very, very interesting. Highly recommend you guys if you guys want to start on classics, or if you guys want to start on the Bronte sisters, then Wuthering Heights might be one that you might be interested in. The second one is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. This is the book that I read when I was in secondary 2 for literature, and this is the book that had essentially introduced to me different kind of formats in books. So this is written in diary entry form. The guy, Charlie Gordon, has to write his experience about the experiment that he participates in. It's superbly interesting, mainly because the whole book is being written in the perspective of the way his IQ works. So when he started out writing this book, his command of English is really terrible. So he writes like how he speaks. Throughout the book, you can see how his command of English changes and improves, and the topics that he discusses about and the things that he observed. This is a book that introduced me to accepting people and not to be prejudiced and judge people just because they are not the same as you are. And the last book is a non-fiction, and it's Quiet by Susan Cain, and it's called The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. I am an introvert. I never knew I was an introvert. I never knew what introversion or extroversion was until I was growing up around 18, 19 years old, and I was just trying to find myself. Susan Cain is actually a lawyer, but she's also an introvert, and she shares her experience on how she is an introvert at the same time being a lawyer, because you know, when you're a lawyer, you have to speak in front of the public or in front of people. It's very common that introverts, they are very, very shy in terms of public speaking. So this book had definitely made me understand a lot better in terms of my introversion and what is it like to be an introvert, and it doesn't make me feel alone. It made me understand that there are so many people out there who are also introverts, and there are so many people out there who are actually successful but are introverts. So now we are going to the second part of the book tag, which is the writing part. I don't write a lot. I write primarily poetry. I find it very, very fascinating how people can just assemble words and make it into a story and blow your mind after that. So let's just get on to the questions. The first question is, why do you enjoy writing? I really enjoyed how writing can actually make you feel better. I don't know, I feel writing is very therapeutic for me. Whenever you are stumped, or whenever you are unmotivated, or you have an idea in your head but you just can't let it out, writing is definitely a best way to let your ideas out. It's just such a therapeutic way to reflect on yourself and your life, and to just go through what is going on at a point of time. Question 2. Show something you wrote. So I'm going to share with you guys another poem that I wrote. I did one last week, so you guys can check that out. So this was written probably 2 years ago. It doesn't have a title, so it goes something like this. If I tell you I'm human, would you run away? The fact that I cry and break down and shut people out, would you still stay? Knowing that despite this smile, I spend every morning thinking if I should wake up. Maybe I'm not like this every day. But if today happened to be that day, would you hug me and tell me it's okay? I'm stronger than I think, I know. Some days are easy, some days are a little too hard. How long can you stand until you realize your feet is numb? How long can you keep living before your heart shatters to crumbs? Even if I'm a little broken inside, would you still be there? Even if I can't feel again, would you still teach me to care? Would you still be there? Would you still care? So, I probably wrote that when I was heartbroken. I have no idea. Anyways, back to the tag. Okay, so question 3. Share a book that changed your life in matter of writing. I wouldn't say that this book changed my life, but I find the whole writing thing very interesting. I'm not really familiar with writing formats. I'm always so used to the traditional kind of writing formats. You know, you have a introduction and then you have a climax and then you have an ending. Like, that's a common thing, the common format that I always read, other than first person or second person or third person narrative. So when time to time, when it comes to a book that has a totally different kind of format, and when it totally works, it will blow your mind. And the book that I'm going to share with you is The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer. So this book is incredible. One is the cover is crazy amazing. Second of all, it's a Costa Books of the Year for 2013. Third of all, the blurb is amazing. I will share with you the blurb. I'll tell you what happened because it will be a good way to introduce my brother. His name is Simon. I think you are going to like him. I really do. But in a couple of pages, he'll be dead. And he was never the same after that. Like, how interesting is that? He will tell you a couple of pages, he's dead. That's it. There's no mushy, no sugarcoat. He'll be dead in a couple of pages. So that was superbly interesting. And when I started reading, I absolutely love the format. It's being written in a first person narrative. So it's him talking to you about his brother and all of that sort. And what's interesting is that when you read this, you are like talking to him or you are reading his mind. And there's one part that totally blows my mind. There's one part that says, "Please stop reading over my shoulder." And you kind of wonder, okay, is that person reading over my shoulder? So I was blown away by this book, and there's all kinds of format. There's the format of him writing on the computer, and then there's the format of him writing on the typewriter, so the whole page just starts to change. There's a format of like handwriting, so it's like there's one page that's just a short prose. So brilliant, and it is one of those books that just lingers with me after I read it for years and years, and I truly love this. So I highly recommend you guys trying this out. Question 4, this is the last question. Give someone who wants to write an advice. Okay, writing advice. I'm not really good at writing, so I feel like I am in no position to give you an advice. But if you're like me again, starting out writing, be it in poetry, be it in writing a short story, again, the first thing that I would definitely give you is no pressure. Writing is supposed to be therapeutic. Writing is supposed to be a lifestyle. When you start out writing, it's okay to just write your thoughts. It's okay to just have that idea in your head and play it around. Take the idea, branch it out, and see how you can play with it. That sums up the whole book tag video. I think this is the longest book tag that I have ever made. I hope you guys enjoyed my Books of Change book tag video, and I hope you guys would do it. So I will list all the questions down below so you guys can join us and do the book tag together with us, so it'll be all fun. This will definitely be the last episode of Books of Change. Wrapping everything up, it has been such a great 11 weeks talking about the books that had changed, impacted our lives. So have a great day, guys. I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, chill out. Bye bye.